So the movie began with showing a young lady who was driving a vehicle. It appeared to be a long journey. She was a splendid writer. Her name was Jennifer Hills. She used to compose prison novels. For that, she needed a quiet and serene spot, implies a solitary location where she could remain alone and center around her book. She would stay there alone and would compose books for her bread and butter. That was the reason she moved to somewhere else. She leased an old house. Its proprietor was an elderly person and it was in an abandoned region. She was going to her home, yet she failed to remember the way. Coming to a place, she met three young men. They were at a service station. Furthermore, they began playing with her while conversing with her pleasantly. With that, they disclosed to her the way to the house. Like that, those young men came to know the location of her home. Later, Jennifer reached her house. She was loving the quietness of her home. She set her things and coordinated everything there. Then at a point, she sat and began composing a book. She was enjoying in the climate of the spot. Around evening time, she was conversing with her companion. Suddenly, she heard a sound. It was coming from a storeroom outside her cabin. She went there to check, yet there was none. It was only the clamor of the air. She again sat on the chair, but her beverage fell on her garment, so she went to the washroom to wash her clothes. There was somebody recording her covertly. The following morning, she got back from running. Coming from there, she saw an old ramshackle house. She got stunned in the wake of seeing it. She came out and got back to her home. Returning home, she saw the sink was harmed. Filthy water was coming from the faucet. She promptly called a repairer. The handyman fixed the sink and Jennifer expressed gratitude towards him. Then at a point, we saw those three young men enjoying beside a rivulet. One of them was named Stanley. He was the person who was recording Jennifer in the washroom. He additionally showed that recording to his different friends. He was an unusual man, and the plumber was also there. The handyman who went to Jennifer's house to fix the sink disclosed to them that Jennifer conversed with him pleasantly and kissed him. They thought as she lived alone, they would go to her home and would get advantage from it. Then at a point, they began arranging about it. They all had mischievous personalities. Going there, they tossed a dead bird before her home. Jennifer came out. She found the sound was again coming from the storeroom. She went towards it to check. Then those four young men had gone inside her home. Then Jennifer came inside the house, yet she had no idea about those four crooked men. They asked Jennifer for what reason she remained alone there. For the purpose she had. Jennifer revealed to them that she needed to compose a book. One of the young men named Johnny forced her to take the drink. He hurt her with a baseball bat. He coerced her to show her teeth and tormented her. He intended to eliminate her teeth. The other three men were tossing the matchsticks on her. They were ridiculing her partaking in her tormentation. Jennifer quickly ran from the point by hitting the bottle in his leg and moved to the woods. She met a sheriff on the way while escaping, and there was a man with sheriff. Jennifer asked him to save his life and told what happened to her. Sheriff requested that man to go and told Jennifer he would go with her to her home to perceive what the deal was. She had no clue that her issue would aggravate more, since the sheriff was included with those wicked men. The sheriff went with Jennifer to her home. Reaching home, he locked the entrance. He acted peculiarly with Jennifer. He blamed Jennifer for consuming drugs and told her that it was simply her imagination. With that, he called somebody. They were, as a matter of fact, those four individuals. The handyman acted gravely with Jennifer. They attempted to assault her and ravish, but Jennifer got away from that point. However, she was gotten again by the men in the woods. That time, including Sheriff, the other four committed awful things with Jennifer. At last, they all abused her persuasively in the forest. They all were awful men. Jennifer's condition got worse. With everything finished, she was leaving the malevolent men. She was feeling troubled to walk, but she continued walking. Those folks were savoring to see her wretchedness. Later, she arrived near a bridge. She hopped in the water before all. They thought perhaps she was dead. They began eliminating all the proof. They set all the evidence on fire, which might lead them to incarceration. They remained there for quite a while to look for her, that she was dead or fled. Even after a significant quest, they didn't discover her whereabouts or anything. They affirmed that she was really dead and they could go from there. They left from that point in the act of obliterating the proof. Then the sheriff went to his home. There he saw his better half and his little daughter. How insidious man he was. He was sinful and he didn't even think about his little daughter. They looked for Jennifer for a long time. However, they didn't get the whereabouts of her or any news. They didn't even find Jennifer's body. At some point, the handyman unveiled to them that he had seen the spirit of Jennifer. They came to know the recording they recorded around then, somebody had stolen it. They all became tensed as they crushed the tape very before. Stanley told that he exchanged the tape and that tape contained nothing. Being scared to get captured, they started battling. He released all his fury on Stanley as the proof would cause trouble for them. Afterwards, when the night came, the person was staring at the television. Somebody tossed a dead bird towards his home as they threw towards Jennifer's home. When he came out, hearing the sound, he saw the sandal of Jennifer. On the other side, the sheriff discovered a tape on which Stanley's name was written. The sheriff got so uneasy to see the tape. He felt that Stanley kept the evidence. He went with rage, confronted Stanley, and pushed the tape in Stanley's mouth. Stanley said that he ain't done all these things, also added he better be stressed over the handyman, as he was absent for a long time. Perhaps he had done this. He felt regretful that he partook with them in the crime after Jennifer conversed with him pleasantly. That was the reason it struck on their head to visit Jennifer's home. Then they chose to look for the plumber and kill him. The sheriff said, "Alright then, discover him and kill him." Later we saw the sheriff with the innocent elderly person in the woods. Jennifer was living on lease in his home. While ambling, he shot the man with his weapon. He had done this so the elderly person wouldn't tell anyone that Jennifer was missing. But the question was, they didn't find the plumber, so where was he? He was in the place of Jennifer laying on the ground. Jennifer strangled the man with a rope in his neck. On the other side, Stanley's friend heard the sound of a music. Then at a point, Stanley and his friend, being interested, went to look for the spot. They went to that bizarre broken house. Jennifer had seen it. Stanley's friend headed inside and saw the condition of the house, and Stanley attempted to go inside the house from the back. Jennifer was prepared in the woods to deliver retribution on every one of them. Stanley described Jennifer. He moved towards her, but his foot was stuck in a bear trap. He shouted in pain and called his companion. His companion appeared and Jennifer assaulted him with a wooden stick from behind. Later she slammed that bat on Stanley and he passed out. She tied the companion of Stanley. She tied him with logs on a bathtub and water was coming from it. Jennifer also tied Stanley with a tree in the woods. Even she recorded him as he did previously. She put a dead rodent in his mouth to endure. The hook from which fish is caught she penetrated in his eyelids and attached the string with a tree that if he made any movement, his eyes would be harmed. In the meantime, Jennifer eviscerated a fish and placed his organ all over his face. So the falcon and crows would come and eat from his face and he would feel torment. Later the scene moved to the companion of Stanley. The man beseeched Jennifer to pardon him. They realized they had done an offense. Yet Jennifer didn't stop at nothing that time. She drowned him into the bathtub. Then she poured some powder into the water of the bathtub. In reality, it was profoundly destructive corrosive acid. The person was tied on 2 wooden sticks and she took out one stick to make more trouble for the man to balance. Consequently, the man fell into the water. His body and face began burning. On the other side, the state of Stanley deteriorated, since the crows were eating from his face. Due to the pain, he died, and Jennifer got her revenge. Later, we witnessed the guy lost his balance and his visage was fully seared. Then Jennifer prepared herself adequately, and she again went to the gas station to hunt down her next victim. But Johnny couldn't recognize her. He moved towards her, however that time Jennifer was exceptionally fearless and she injured his head with an implement. Later tied him at the similar spot where she had her retaliation on his associates. She inflicted the same trauma in him as he did earlier. Jennifer pulled off his all teeth. Jennifer additionally severed his body part with a cutting tool. and constrained him to eat that. Jennifer needed to deliver retribution on Plumber and Sheriff. She had effectively gotten the handyman. Afterwards, she went to the sheriff's house. She abducted his daughter with a false personality. When the sheriff was hellbent to save his young daughter and sat in his vehicle, Jennifer also entered his vehicle furtively. She assaulted him and he fainted. When the sheriff woke up, he understood that he was tied on a wooden table. The plumber was additionally in the room, yet without sense. Then Jennifer pushed a weapon in his back and he attached the trigger with a string to the plumber's hand so that it would shoot a bullet consequently if the handyman moved. With that, 2 individuals will be killed with a single shot. Jennifer was hanging tight for the sound while sitting outside. As the plumber gained his sense, he was shocked seeing the sheriff in front of him. The sheriff forbade him to move, yet being dazed, he moved his hand and the weapon fired. The weapon shot at the rear of sheriff and the bullet additionally shot the handyman and he kicked the bucket. While sitting outside, Jennifer was getting happy and loosened up that she had taken her arrangement. And with that, the movie I Spit on Your Grave finished there. Well, thanks for watching.